Okay, hi guys, welcome to today's webinar. So this is how strength training improves your riding. So I just wanted to talk to you all about this today because I think it's really, really important and slightly missed part of horse riding. So I think let's get going and we'll talk about how we can do this. So how this webinar going to work is I just want to run through that with you guys first. So we're going to be the introduction. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about strength training. Then we're going to go through the benefits of strength training when it comes to horse riding. So this is not just in the saddle. It can also work around the yard and stuff like that. Then I have an offer for you guys. I'm going to tell you what you can do now that can really make a change for you and how I can help you with that as well. And then at the end, I'm going to do a little Q&A just to for any questions that people may have and they might want to talk about that they might have picked up along the way. So I'm going to have the chat box open. You can pop the questions in during it or you can pop them in at the end. So it's completely up to yourself which way we go. So just want to let you know that you are in the right place coming to this webinar if you struggle with confidence when riding or even handling horses. It doesn't have to be just when riding. If you feel unbalanced while riding, you're in the right place as well. If you can't shake an old injury, so just niggly, maybe you have a bad shoulder or a bad knee that just won't seem to go away, I am here to help you with that as well. So you're in the right place for this as well. If you've got constant back pain, and I don't think there's many horse riders who don't, you're also here in the right place. And the other thing is, if you can seem to improve your riding, no matter how many lessons you do, this is the place for you as well. Because the thing is, if your muscles are weak, it doesn't matter how many lessons you'll do, you may not be able to change it. Unfortunately, we may have to look somewhere else. So on the webinar, I'm going to teach you all about how you're going to become more balanced riding and how the strength training can help that. How to shift that injury once and for all. So finally get rid of it. How great would that sound to not have your bad shoulder anymore? How to become back pain free. So finally get rid of that back pain because there are many reasons for having back pain and they're rarely because you have a weak back, funny enough, which I'll go through later in the webinar. And then the last one, how your body works with the horse. So I think it's really important that we need to learn. We know how to do the movements, we know how they feel when we're doing them, but it's like understanding why your muscles are moving with the horse, what way they're moving, how we are working in conjunction with the horse. As opposed to you pull the reins, horse stops. It's what muscles, what way of your body moving with that. So I suppose one way of saying this is you've all gotten up with a fresh horse and had an idea that they're going to, you probably felt underneath you the power, the energy, they're going to try and bury you at some point. Well, it's that kind of thing. We want to feel how your body moves with the horse so they feel you and they know what you want all the time as well. So first off, a little bit about me. And I don't know why my lovely little photo makes me look so happy and welcoming is not working, but my name's Chrissy. So if you don't know me from Instagram or TikTok, if you are new to following me and you just found this webinar through someone else, I am an online strength coach. So I work with equestrians to help improve their riding position, rehab injuries, feel stronger and more confident in and out of the saddle. What does that mean? I work with equestrians and make their life better. That's the short way of saying it. So basically, as I said, when it comes to strength training, will not just benefit you, your horse, but it'll also work around the yard and stuff like that. So that's why I say in and out of the saddle. Okay, so why should you listen to me? Okay, well, I have over 20 years horse riding experience. That is my pony there. That is Sam. I have had him for about 14 years. He is my little donkey. And before him, I was riding 10 years before we got him anyway. So that is my experience in the equestrian industry. I have also done some competing, low level amateur stuff. Obviously, he's too small to do high level stuff, but I have done show jumping and some eventing as well. So I'm also a personal trainer from 6 years, 6 years personal trainer. I've worked in gyms in different settings. I worked in commercial gyms and I now work in a semi-private gym, mostly personal training. I am also a qualified neuromuscular therapist. So, what is a neuromuscular therapist? I am a physical therapist, basically. I am not a physio. A physio is you have to have done a 2-year degree to do a physio or a master's degree to do a physio. So it's a protected thing, protected title like a dietitian. However, I am qualified to injury assess, sports massage, injury rehab. As a neuromuscular therapist, we look at the whole body as a whole, how the nerves intertwine with the muscles. It is not just, say, for instance, your shoulder. If you have pain in your shoulder, it's in your shoulder. We actually look at the body as a whole. It could be coming from anywhere else. We talk about referred pain and stuff like that. Anyway, I could go on about that for ages, but I'm not going to. I'm going to move on. I have worked with people in Ireland and abroad. So I have worked as people as far as Norway, and I've worked with people in the UK and people as close as South Dublin. So I have worked with different riders with different needs, different injuries, all over the world, and that has given me experience of people who do as well, doing different types of riding. I have had people who work with horses as a career, and people who horse ride for fun. I am a featured writer in the Grassroots Gazette. So, if you have not heard of this place, we are the fastest growing equestrian media brand in the UK and Ireland. You will find them there, the grassrootsgazette.ie. That's where you will find all the articles that are posted by writers from all levels. They go right down to the grassroots movement of equestrians, and they feature people who really, really care about horses. So highly recommend you go follow that website and you'll find some great articles on there, and I'm really delighted to be part of them. Now, why is strength training important? Also, I don't know what the crack is here with my pictures. They look lovely on the test screen, and then they're like, no, you know what? I'm not going to put them on the main screen. But alas, I cannot do anything about that. I will just roll with it. So, why is strength training important for horse? So it will improve your riding. How can it improve your riding? Well, here's the thing. If you are stronger, you're going to be more balanced on the horse. You're going to be easier. If your legs are stronger, you're going to be able to wrap and hold on to the horse better. If your abs and your core is stronger, you're going to be able to sit up straighter. I find a lot of time we see with horse riders that we end up overarching our back. So they're leaning back to compensate for the fact they can't sit up tall. Why is that? Because your abs are weak and they don't want to fire. We can't get our hips into the right position because the muscles aren't firing properly. This leads to some back pain, and this is why we really, really need to work on that, because it can really help you learn to sit up straight without putting pressure on your lower back and your hips. Injury prevention. Okay, how can strength training stop you getting injured? Well, here's the thing. Our joints are surrounded by muscle. Our joints, they act as a cushion of shock absorber as well for our joints. So if you have stronger muscles or bigger muscles around your joints, it's going to be more shock absorbing, it's going to be more helpful, and it's going to be basically protecting them for when you fall. We also have our tendons and our ligaments. So our tendons bring our attach muscle to bone, and our ligaments attach bone to bone. So if you're working your muscles, it'll also help strengthen your tendons, which will help you less likely to end up with these injuries between our muscles and our tendons. Give me 1 second, water. No, sorry about that. So, better stamina. How is strength training going to improve your stamina? Now, you think probably if you want to improve your stamina, you're going to have to run or do stuff like that. No. What happens is when we do strength training is we build muscle. And how our body builds muscle is we tear the fibers that are there, and then they grow back stronger and more fibers. When there's more fibers, there's more muscles to fire, which means they can go for longer periods of time. If they are If there's less fibers, there's less way of blood getting to the area, less oxygen to the muscle. So a whole lot of these things all add up to increase your stamina. But building muscle will actually improve your stamina. Horse being more responsive is another reason. So part of the reason your horse may not be listening to is it doesn't know what you are asking. Maybe on your right side, you're incredibly strong and they know exactly what you're saying, but on the left side, they just don't get the same feeling. So they don't know how they're actually supposed to respond. So if you are stronger now on this side, you're going to be able to give them those aids and they'll be like, okay, that's what she wants. So they may just not be just ignoring you. They may not know what you actually want. So what is strength training? I've taken this off the internet here. I have the link from where I got it from. But strength training, also called resistance training or weight training, is use of resistance to muscular contraction to build strength, anaerobic endurance, and size of skeletal muscles. So what does that mean? We're going to get jacked. No. What that means is skeletal muscle is the muscle that is all over our skeleton. Obviously sounds a bit self-explanatory, but we also have the likes of cardiac muscle, smooth muscle. That is the muscle that we have around our organs. We can't really do much about growing that. They have their own job, you leave it to it. Whereas skeletal muscle is in fact it's the muscles that we can use, basically consciously use, and that we can consciously grow. Now, the thing about resistance training and weight training as well is they're all the same thing. But as you see here, I'm doing a body weight squat. That is still resistance training. It doesn't have to be loads of weights and really hard. Okay. And anaerobic endurance, that is anaerobic means there's no oxygen. So if our muscles can perform better with lack of oxygen, they can perform for longer, basically. Anaerobic is your sprint, that kind of thing. So I have a few misconceptions we have about strength training. First off, people think that you need loads of equipment. So you need to have a full gym with all these different things to work out. You need 10 different machines just to do a shoulder press. You need 10 different machines for every body part. And that's not true. A lot of time you can do stuff at home, body weight, you can use light weights. There's a lot of things. And another thing about it is it depends what you're training for. Okay, so yeah, if you want to be a power lifter or an Olympic weightlifter, you're gonna need loads of equipment, you're gonna need loads of weights. That's true. But if you just want to improve mobility in your shoulder, you're not gonna need the same equipment. So you have to remember that, like, it is horses for courses, for want of a better way of saying things. But that's what we're looking for. We don't need loads of equipment. We need the right equipment for what you want to do. They also think, we have to spend hours in the gym to get any results. Absolutely not. You see people training for hours. Yeah, you've probably seen the videos of bodybuilders, or maybe you've seen people putting stuff up on Instagram, or you see like the athletes, professional athletes in the gym for several hours a day. A lot of the time, they're not there for that long, but they actually go in for a structured session. They have a certain amount of time with a certain thing they need to do, and then they go again. Maybe the bodybuilders are different, but hours and hours in the gym, not always what you need for results. And the third one I think that people tend to think is you're going to be too sore to exercise your horse after. And you really shouldn't be. If you're training properly and efficiently, you should not be in bits after it. You should feel well. You should feel like first week, yeah, you'll probably be sore. After that, you should be fatigued. You should be able to do whatever you want. If you're sore all the time after training, you're doing something wrong. However, here's some truths about training, which are pretty much the opposite of the misconceptions. However, you can still do a very effective home workout. As I said, you don't need to have loads of equipment. You can have body weight. As I said there, I'm doing a body weight squat there. That is still resistance training. You if you have a few bits at home, like you can use stuff from around the yard as well, be like hay bales, though they'd be hard to move, buckets, there's things you can do, so many different things you can do without having equipment and improvising that people don't realize. Bands are another thing that can be used real well, easy to get, and they can function really, really well as part of a training program as well. You can do short workouts and still benefit them. Absolutely. There's no point you having 3 massive long workouts a week if you're never going to do them. 3 half-an-hour workouts a week, you're going to make more progress with them than the ones you don't do. So I always say that people kind of build them up into these big things that we have to do, but you don't. That's the fun thing about it. You don't actually have to make it this massive thing. You can have a really simple workout, and once you're doing them, you're going to get way more benefit from them than these really, really long workouts. Another thing about these long workouts is they can actually be counterproductive. So basically, if you are working for several hours a day, like, over an hour and a half, you're actually going to start going backwards in your progress. Unless you are eating every so often, keep yourself fueled, there's no point exercising for several hours at once. So that's really, really important and worth noting, that like hours in the gym do not mean you're going to do way more progress. And another thing as well, worth noting as well, is if you had 3 half-an-hour workouts in a week versus you do one workout that's like an hour long and it absolutely destroys your legs to the point that you can't walk for 3 or 4 days and you only get to the gym once that week because of it, you've actually done less overall when you think about it. So it's really worth thinking about that and working towards doing something that's going to be sustainable and effective, because we don't want to end up just crippling ourselves and not being able to do anything, because as I said, you're going to get less progress out of that than if you did something where you feel great and ready to go the next day. And as I said before, there, after the first week, you should not be sore after workouts. If you are sore after every workout, you're going too hard, you're doing something wrong. Yes, fatigue is normal after the first week. First week you probably are sore. First week of a new program, everyone's sore. I'm always sore after the first week of a program. So, this is really, really important to think of. Like, you shouldn't be sore. I think people have the misconception that they should be sore after every workout, but you actually shouldn't. It's probably a bad thing if you are sore after every workout. So, why strength training? Again, my photos aren't working. This is bullshit. So strength training builds muscle. And as I was saying there, builds muscle, more protection for our joints, makes us feel stronger, all those little things. Another thing that's really important to think of as we age is once you are over 35, a thing called sarcopenia kicks in, which is basically the breakdown of our muscles. So in order to counteract that, strength training is really, really worth doing to help you counteract that. And the thing about it is, what is the thing about it? Sorry, completely blank there. Thing about counteracting sarcopenia is it's not only going to help your riding, it's going to help your quality of life in general growing older. So I know we don't like to think about that. However, it is something to keep in mind, that it isn't just for horse riding, it's actually for your quality of life growing old. As I said, it improves stamina. Anyone who does endurance type horse riding, even if you are just, even if you're not in endurance, like say doing 3-day eventing, if you're riding several horses in a competition, you're going to need that stamina. You're going to get tired over the time. Every time you go over the course, you will be more tired. So if you have done some strength training and improved that stamina, you're going to be less likely to be as tired going forward after your fourth maybe horse. You're still going to be tired, but you're going to be less likely to be in bits after. More strength, as I said, equals better responses from your horse. I know it's nice to think, and it's not nice to think, that our horse is just point blank ignoring us. But basically what I'm saying here is your horse may not know, as they're saying, your horse may not know what you're looking for. They might be very, very clear on one side, but you're actually a lot weaker on the other side, and the horse isn't quite sure. If it knows better, if you can feel better, it's going to listen to you quicker. Unless it's a horse like mine who just doesn't want to do anything. However, the likelihood is they're going to listen better to you. And then also improves muscle imbalances. So think about muscle imbalances, they're always going to exist, unfortunately. You'll never be able to 100%. You'll always have a probably stronger side, a more dominant side, a weaker side. However, we're probably always going to have more rounded shoulders, just the way our life is, and a weaker back. But by doing this, we can actually build up strength in those imbalances. So like you strengthen up your back, now you can control a bit more when you're horse riding. Say, for instance, as well, if you have an injury, say if anyone's had a shoulder injury or rotator cuff injury before, what's happened a lot of the time is one is gone and another muscle in the shoulder is going to compensate. After this happens, you probably are going to have still pain in that shoulder, but funny enough, it mightn't be the weak muscle that was injured. It's actually more likely a lot of the time to be the muscle that's been taking over that job. So it's been overcompensating. Now it's tight and sore. If you start strengthening that weaker muscle, it's going to take the pressure off that strong muscle and it'll help you reduce pain. So this is another reason, like we want to keep those muscle imbalances basically to a minimum as much as we can. It'll never be perfect, but what we can, that's what we want. So reduces chance of injury. So as I said there, it is before we've got more muscle around your joints, there is more of you to support your joints, like you're less likely to do something in a fall. If the muscles, well, again, when it comes to these muscle imbalances, this is how sometimes muscular tears or muscular injuries happen. So if you're able to strengthen up that area before it gets so weak to the point that it gets injured, you're already preventing something that could potentially happen. Increases bone density. This is a really big one for the women as well. So women are more likely to get osteopenia or osteoporosis, which is brittle bone syndrome, basically. Osteopenia is the precursor to osteoporosis. One thing that strength training or resistance training does is it increases your bone density. It helps counteract the effects of this. Again, this can be done with body weight training. It doesn't have to just be weights. Again, body weight training is resistance training. So it is also the most effective way to rehab injuries. Okay, so as horse riders, I'm sure we have all got plenty of injuries. Riddled with them, I think is the right word. And I imagine at some point when injured, you were told that you should rest it. Okay, rest it till it goes away. Now, obviously, in the case of like broken bones or sprains or any swelling or stuff like that, it is highly recommended, especially even if you do a torn muscle, for a couple of days until the swelling goes down, that kind of thing. Obviously, with a broken bone, it's a bit more intense. That we do want to leave that alone and rest it for a couple of days to let your body start the healing process. However, after this, we need to strengthen the area again. And this research has shown that it actually works better to strengthen those areas than leave them alone. The longer we leave them, the weaker we get. And the weaker they get, the more pain they create. So the only way really to get over this pain is to strengthen that up. And you always find as well when you start doing these that it's very niggly when you do it, but it actually feels better after. So you will actually get a lot further with an injury and getting rid of the injury by re-strengthening the area than if you were to just leave it alone. We want to get those a lot of the time as well when we have an injury. What happens is our body switches off the nerve endings to that area. And it's a protection thing. It doesn't mean they're broken and they're never going to work again, but it's protection against pain, against swelling. It helps the healing process. But it doesn't just switch them back on again when it's gone. So what we want to do is use those muscles to start firing them again, because you need to retrain that muscle almost to start working again, because then it'll know it doesn't have to be sore anymore and it can work better. But it won't do that. Like, it'll automatically switch it off, but it won't automatically switch it back on. So that's another reason that we want to do strength training when we are rehabbing an injury. And now, look, again, with this, you can be using a band for high reps just to like rotate your shoulder, step out with your knee and stuff like that. But it's about getting those nerve endings firing again. And it also reduces back pain. So I'm sure everyone has lovely sore backs from all the different carrying and lifting and all the stuff. But here's an interesting thing that a lot of people don't realize. And your back pain is not caused by a weaker back. It's actually caused by your abs and your glutes being far too lazy to do anything, especially if you sit down all day. Constant problem if you're someone who sits down all day. Your glutes are probably going to switch off. When they do this, what happens is your back ends up taking up all the slack. And by doing that, it gets tired. And because it does that, it gets tired and niggly and worn out. And that's where the pain comes from. It's just so tired from basically carrying everybody else. And if you can get your glutes and your abs firing a bit more, working with your back, it takes the pressure off the back and then the back pain dissipates. So that's just a really good reason to do strength training as well, because we can get focused on those muscles and get them firing and get that pain away from the back. So here's another thing about it. It's not just going to help you. It's going to help your horse. Okay? So how's it going to help your horse? I've spoken about this already. I've said it will be able to understand your aids a little bit better. So as I said, it may not understand what you're asking it, and that's why it's not listening. It may not be just being difficult. It could just not know what you're doing. So if you're a little bit stronger, it'll go, oh, that's what they want, and then listen to you. If you're unbalanced, they're unbalanced. We all know this. We've all, like, best way of saying, like, you know, you felt it. You've been riding around the corner on the wrong leg. You feel iffy. Well, they feel that too. So if you're more balanced, more solid while riding them, they're less likely to decide, feck you, I'm off, and boot you off them and go for a run. But also it makes them easier, and it makes it easier for them coming into fences or even just practicing on the flat. Like, we want to make their lives as easy as they can as well. Like, they are doing us a solid, like they're carrying us around the place. So, by doing this, we can really help our horses out as well. And then they're compensating for you, which can cause muscular issues too. So the best way of describing this is, imagine you're carrying, like, when we were in school before, and you could, like, you were supposed to hold your bag like this, but we're all too cool to that. So we hold the bag on one shoulder and we lift it up like that, okay? And by doing that, you're putting pressure like that. Now, you've got wonky shoulders going forward because you spent all your teen years lifting one arm like that. That's basically what your horse is going to do. If you're leaning out to one side, they're going to have to right you. If you're pulling them on one side, they're going to go the opposite. So that's why you might find that your horse is leaning in on one side, or it's less responsive, or it really feels like, it's twisting over fences. Now, sometimes they do that for themselves to compensate for their own muscular imbalances, but this could be the reason. It could be they're tilting themselves because they know when they land the other side, you're going to fall onto this side, or they know when they're going around the corner, if they don't drop their shoulder a little bit, you're going to be going off the wrong side and making life more uncomfortable for them. So these are all ways that we can actually help out our horse. It's not just for us, because I don't think we like doing things for ourselves, but we do like doing them for our horses. So these are all other reasons that we can improve. Like, the strength training cannot just improve for us, it can improve for our horses. So here's another thing as well. The stronger you are, the less likely you are to fall off your horse if it changes direction quickly. Now, if your horse decides to put its head between its legs and absolutely rocket launch you off, 9 out of 10 times they're going to win that battle. What I'm talking about is the times we're riding along and suddenly your horse sees a monster in the bushes that you can't see, but it's there. So now suddenly they've turned and they're. If you are stronger and more balanced, good at activating your core, you'll be able to hold on better. and less likely to go out the opposite side when they do their little pirouette. Likewise, if they refuse a fence really quickly, you're more likely to stay on. Now, again, as I said, we can't always predict what's going to happen. That's the joy of horses, but it gives you a better chance of staying on and not ending up eating sand. It'll also help you from being in pain less when you are mucking out stables. Now, how do I mean this? So basically, when we're mucking out stables, we're twisting a lot of the time, okay? Now, one of the best ways to do that is try and alternate which way you're going. But look, after 10 stables, we're hardly thinking about that. But the thing is, the other thing can benefit is a lot of the time with this, we're digging into the stables, we're rotating, but we're going through our back the whole time. If you've strengthened up more of your body, again, like I'm saying, your glutes, your core, your legs, it'll be easier for you to get that and rotate and put less pressure on the back doing it, using your legs to drive in and dig and push. You know, looking at one stable isn't fun, so sometimes you can be absolutely knackered for one of them. It's more of a workout than actual riding, but it is something that you can definitely help with the back when you are cleaning stables if more of your body is being used and utilized. And last one here is like a really simple one, but finding it easier to carry things around the yard. Okay, look, nothing to do with horses is light. Like the bridle maybe, but even then, the saddles, we've got feed, we've got hay bales, we've got bales of shavings, you've got wheelbarrows, you've got water buckets, all of that stuff weighs a ton to carry. And if you can straighten up your body a little bit more, it'll make it a little bit easier to maybe flip over that hay bale or walk the full wheelbarrow full of shavings to the muck heap, or even carrying buckets, because like at some point the water system will probably freeze over because it's Ireland. But all these different things you might notice easier, like get saddled down or lifted up onto the horse, like things that we might take for granted as being hard could actually be made a lot easier. So if you have listened to all this and thought, my God, I really need to work on this because it'll really help, all the things she's listing make so much sense, I have something for you. Okay, so this is my own Strong in the Saddle program where I work with questions, and I just want to talk to you about it, tell you how it works and how I can help you. So here is how the Strong in the Saddle program works. Okay, over 8 weeks, I'm going to work with you on a one-to-one basis. Okay, and it's really important. I like working with people one-to-one. I find it's more helpful. Everyone gets their own time with me as well. So you're going to get a bespoke program that is tailored to you. No, not anyone else, not generic program that Johnny gets. It is your program that's going to be based on your schedule, equipment availability, your injuries, what you're looking to improve specifically, how we can work that. So it's all tailored to you. Okay? Excuse me. I'm gonna have videos to all the exercise so you know what you're doing. Like there's no point me telling you a list of exercise, here you go, off you go, you be grand. No, I'm gonna give you videos so you know what you're supposed to be doing. And so you can be confident in what you're doing as well. Because as I said, like I know all the exercise names, but I can send you off and then you have to Google it and you're gonna get 10 different versions of the exercise and then you don't know where to start. So videos of exactly what you're supposed to do. There's also a weekly Zoom check-in with me, okay? So I can also do that on WhatsApp video call because I've had a few people do that as well. But basically, we sit down and we talk about how you are finding the program. Does anything need to be changed? Are you struggling with a different exercise? Are you unsure about something? Anything like that. All your concerns, you voice them to me. Did you find this week didn't go well training? Absolutely fine. We're going to talk about it. I'm not going to berate you for it, but we're going to see how we can get the best out of this program. And that's why I need to check in with you every week and just see how we can find the best thing that works for you. So that is what I do on the weekly check-in. But don't worry, I'm not going to be leaving you on your own for for a week, okay? You're still going to have access to the True Coach app where you'll find your program, and that includes the videos on it there. And you can give feedback on the workouts in between check-ins, and I can respond to them as well. So it's not that you're just going to be left for 6 days a week, and on day 7 you have to remember everything. You can put that feedback in through the week. Okay. You're going to get support and guidance from someone who knows how you feel. Okay. I have been there. I have been horse riding, as I said, for 20 years. I've done everything. I've landed every which way possible off the horse. So I know what it's like to horse ride. I know what it's like to have your body in bits. I know what it's like to have, I know what the timing's like. I'm not going to sit there and be like one of those coaches who goes, if you really want to do it, you do it, you'd make the time. I'm going to be like, yeah, I know, understand you've an animal or you several animals. It's a lot harder to organize time. We can plan it, but we're going to plan to your schedule. Okay. So I just want to say, like, I know what it's like. I've done the injuries. I've been through so many injuries myself as well. So I know what it's all like. Okay. Optional mobility workouts that you can use to warm up for riding or for rest days. Okay, so I have a load of YouTube videos. If you want to go look at my YouTube, it's Chrissy Hawkins Fitness. But there's a load of mobility workouts up there, but I'll also send some on to you as well specifically. So you have the option to do them. Maybe one day you feel like you want to you're having a rest day. Maybe you don't feel like training. Maybe you just need to stretch out. Maybe you're at a show the night before and you just want to do something that's really, really nice and gentle and you just got to feel good after it. Well, that's where these come in. So basically, mobility workouts are a little bit of stretching, a little bit of small exercises, focusing on those small little muscles that we kind of forget about and they don't get utilized so much. But it's focused on working them and that'll help you feel like you move better. Again, using these exercises to improve mobility as opposed to sitting around and waiting for it to get better, we can actually by training them up, you can make the range of motion better in your arms, your hips. So they can be really nice. And sometimes it can be really nice to just have a little stretch out and have a relax, and you just feel great after as well. And then of course, one thing that I like is you can access to me, send videos of you doing the exercise. So you can feel confident when you're training alone. So this is something that I'm really, really passionate about is getting people to send me videos because you mightn't be sure if you're doing it right. So the best way to do it is send me a video and I can say for instance, you're doing a squat. I say you need to bring your feet a little bit wider or try and go a little bit lower here if you can. Or maybe we'll elevate your heels to get a bit more depth. There's loads of different things that I can help you with. And that's why I encourage my clients to send me videos so we can look at that and what needs to change and what isn't working or what does work. Because there's no point you bouncing around doing something and not actually getting any benefit of it. So that's why I like to see the videos so we can see if we can get the best out of the exercise that we have. So what's next? This program is normally 607 for the 8 weeks. Okay. Again, I take payment plans to these as well, so you don't have to literally pay it all up in front. We can do it in 2 payments or 3 installments. But for you guys who have been on the webinar, and also for anyone who is going to join and watch this later, up until 9 p.m. on the 15th of November, you can get everything for €557. Again, payment plans are optional. I want to make sure as well that I'm offering it to you if you're watching this after the webinar because you guys may not have been able to make it, but you signed up. So I think you deserve getting an option of seeing it as well. So that offer is till, as I said, it's till November 15th, 9 p.m. at 557. What do you do if you want to avail this offer? First off, if you want, you can just book now for a discovery call with me using this link here. Okay. Look, come and have a chat with me. We'll book a discovery call. The thing about the discovery call as well is it's a 30-minute chat till we figure out if we're good to work with each other. Okay. Like you could come off the end of it and go, no, do you know what? I don't want to work with her. I could be the same going, I don't think we're going to work well together. We come, we discuss. There is no obligation with that one. You just have a discovery call, see how you get on, see what you think. And if you want to sign up at the end, you can. And if you don't have to either. Okay. But if you have any questions, say for instance, you're watching this after the webinar was out, feel free to even book a webinar or book the discovery call to ask me any questions. Like I'm happy to answer questions if you're not sure, if you don't feel like it's explained properly. The other thing about it as well is you Sorry. The other thing about it as well is, drop me a DM on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever. Drop me a social media message. I'm happy to answer any questions. You can reply to the email this comes out in as well. But as I said, this will be live for 7 days, and this is free as well till the 15th of November. So I'm giving you the 7 days as well to make sure you get plenty of time to get in the offer as well. So thank you for joining this webinar. I hope you found it really informative. As I said, if you do have any questions, feel free to drop me a message on Instagram or TikTok. I'm at strongthesaddle_ on Instagram. I am at strongthesaddle on TikTok, and you can always drop me an email back in response to the emails that I send out as well. So thanks for joining.